Hey, what's up, guys? It is METAGAMESGX here, and we are going to be taking a look at another replay that I had on DB here. This time I'm going against Yummy again. This is going to be one of the most popular decks in the next format, so I did want to keep posting at least another Yummy gameplay where I show you guys kind of breaking the board. So our opponent has Forbidden Droplet, Cupsy, Ash, Salzban, Dominus Purge. I open Spriggan's Kit, Duspian Tragedy, Droplet, Branded Red, and Dracotail Muller. So this is a pretty good hand into Yummy with Droplet, all things considered, but it's still not the absolute best, especially since I don't run Guardian Chimera. However, he goes Salzban, Call Ash, which is probably the misplay against a 60 card deck, but what else are you going to really call in that situation? He does just lose to an Ash on the Cupsy Yummy, so we do see the Cupsy resolve to get the surprise. He's going to link off the Cupsy into the Snatchy, which Snatchy is going to be able to place a Yummy field spell on the board. Now he's going to be able to go into the Mignon effect to revive the Cupsy Yummy, and then he's going to synchro both off for the Cupsy Yummy Way, which is of course their broken card that gets to search out 2 Yummy monsters, then discard a card. He gets out the Cupsy or the Cookie and then the Lollipopo, and he is going to then discard the Ash, which is kind of crazy to be honest. But I guess he valued the Purge and the Droplet a little bit more, so then he summons out the Lollipopo and then the Cookie, since he does control some Yummies, and then he links off for the second Snatchy. He then synchros off for a new Lollipopo Yummy Way, which on synchro summon gets to special 2 Yummies from graveyard, and then he is going to be able to, if he wants to, go into the Herald, but here he's going to go into the Shamisen Samsara Cat, which basically allows him to synchro on my turn. And he's still just going to synchro off into the Herald of the Arclight here, and he is then going to be able to go Shamisen effect to spin back to then special back, which is pretty cool too. So then he has another way to synchro on my turn. And then he ends up setting the Dominus Purge and then the Yummy Surprise and then passes to me. So this is a board that will get him out to a second Herald of the Arclight, which is another Omni Negate, plus a few other effects because he does have the Book of Moon. So I'm going to show you guys how to break a Yummy board now with Branded. I draw Saronir. Here I go normal summon Mooler because I could go special or normal summon Kit, but the thing is, if I get to my Branded engine anyway, which my Dracotail cards will get me there, I will be able to special summon the Kit anyways, so I felt like the Muller would be dead elsewise, so I go Muller effect on normal summon. He negates that with Herald of the Arclight, which is interesting, and I'm thinking here, because this might have been, I thought at this point it was a slight misplay, because obviously I can't really negate the Herald now, but now I can go Droplet. I'm going to send the Saronir plus the Tragedy because that does get me to Branded Fusion, those 2 cards in the graveyard, so then I am able to negate both of his synchros, so he can't really tag out anymore, which is pretty good. He does have the surprise though, which does allow him to still do stuff. So then I go Saronir effect here. Saronir is going to send the Branded Fusion, since Tragedy in the graveyard basically acts like a Branded Retribution. I can reset any branded spell or trap card by banishing the Duspian Tragedy. I accidentally add it to hand, and then I set the Branded Fusion. Here, I'm just going to go into the Branded Fusion, and he doesn't have the Ash anymore. So I very well could have, I guess, lost this game if he just ended up keeping the Ash instead of the Purge, but, I'm kind of lucky in that regard. But then I send the Fallen of Albaz plus the Lubellion, and then I will get the Albion out, and then I'll be able to go Albion Chainlink of 1 to banish the Fallen of Albaz plus the Saronir, and then I will be able to go out to the Lubellion. Here we're just going to keep doing standard plays. I discard this Kit because I want to be able to keep the red in for next turn if I can't kill him, which I can't really on this board. So then I go out to the Mirror Jade. I tribute off the Albion. So for the Bestial Lubellion will then be able to get me a continuous branded spell or trap card. I will get the Branded Lost. And now I just go into the battle phase, and I just attack over the Cupsy with the Mirror Jade. And here I was thinking I actually kind of misplayed because I probably should have went Mirror Jade effect to banish to then get the Titanclad, but instead I still just did that. So that was definitely a misplay, but it's largely fine because now I have to go Mirror Jade effect, just banish the Lubellion, and then I still get the Titanclad, so that's fine. Then I send the Branded in red, and then I trigger the Titanclad, go Quem effect to connect me to the brand or the Albaz for my Branded in red, and now I get to go Albion effect And he is going to Dominus Purge this, I believe, because this is still a search, so that's okay, I guess. And then I pass to him. He draws the Ghost Spell on the Droplet, which is fine for me because I'm under branded loss, so Ghost Spell can't quite do anything. He goes the Yummy Surprise, and he chains Droplet to negate the Quem, I presume, by sending the Field Spell plus the Surprise, which I felt like this was definitely a misplay sending the Mignon, to be honest, but that is kind of what it is. And because you didn't really need to negate the Mirror Jade, I guess he did that to like maybe attack over at some point. He summons out the Cupsy off of the field spell, and then he goes Cupsy Effect to search out the cookie. Here, I just end up going the branded in red, and then I target the Albaz, and then he goes Ghost Spell. And guys, so you guys know, Ghost Spell says negate the activation. You can't negate activations that include a fusion summon under branded loss, so this still goes through. And I just add the Fallen of Albaz and then summon out the Chaos Star Source off of the Albion. I should have went to Albion. I skipped a step here, but yeah. I don't know why I went off of Chaos Star Source. That should very obviously just be a Albion the Branded Dragon right here, but we obviously run a second one, so I could have done that under branded loss. It really didn't matter. I search out the Mercurier, and then he can't really do anything from here. I mean, he does have the Cookie Yummy, I guess, but that's fine. He's going to target the Mirror Jade, and then he is going to be able to go Mignon Effect, and this is going to target one Yummy in your graveyard, special summon it, and or no, he just spins back, I guess, 3. Yeah, and then Yummy Snatchy will come out, and then Yummy Snatchy will use this effect. I just Mercurier this because he has no other follow-up from here, so he just kind of scoops at this point. And we go into game 2. So game 2, I'm going to be going second, obviously, and I draw Brandon Red Albaz, Fusion Deployment, opening Fusion Deployment, and he draws Obedience School, Surprise, Ghost Spell, My Body is a Shield, and Solemn Warning. So this guy's on really the Edison goo between the My Body and the Solemn Warning. He goes out to the Obedience Schooled and then goes into the Snatchy. Snatchy will get then the Field Spell, and then he goes out to the Cupsy and then searches the Lollipopo. I also think he misplays and goes into a non-beast, but I catch him on that. So he's right now doing his full Yummy combo, and yeah, exactly. He goes out to the Shy Zone, which you can't do under the Obedience Schooled. Because you get locked into Beast. So Obedience Schooled is a crazy card, but you get locked into Beast. So, right, you can still double Herald, but, like, your end board gets a little bit worse, objectively, and then he goes into the Herald. This should not be happening, and at this point, I catch him, and then he has to go back. And so, since he's Obedience Schooled locked, he really just has to make a simple board. He sets the Solemn Warning, the Surprise, and then also the My Body, and then ends on these monsters. In the My Body and the Solemn Warning, I would never even think of, so, like, those are really going to catch me off guard. So I go normal summon Fallen of Albaz here, because I have, like, ways to special summon into Aluber and Cartesia, so this is just, like, a good way to force interaction, and then get Sarnier in the graveyard. Well, actually, I just discard the deployment. He goes Lollipopo, which is fine, summons out the Yummy Surprise, or the Snatchy. I go out to Mirror Jade off the Snatchy, which is pretty good. I honestly probably should have done the Cupsy, but it's fine. And he goes Cookie Effect to destroy Mirror Jade, and I just send Titanclad here. And then he goes Cupsy Effect, which is fine. And then Mirror Jade will go to the graveyard, but then he is able to use My Body as a shield, which is something I would have never predicted, to be honest. Which basically says if your opponent would destroy a monster on the field, activate effect, basically pay 1,500 and then negate the activation. So that's pretty good, I guess, because that would have really killed a lot of his follow-up. I go Fusion Deployment here for Cartesia. He goes Surprise to summon the Snatchy. And then I go out to the Cartesia here. I'm able to then go into the Branded Opening to attempt to dodge a Imperm, and he goes into the Snatchy. Or I just chain the Snatchy to the... He chains the Snatchy to the opening. Then he goes out to the Cookie Yummy away, which is a Book of Moon for 2, which is fine against the Spore. I go Aluber Effect, get into Branded Fusion, and then I also go Sarnier Chainlink 2. And then I go Chainlink 4 Cartesia, summon out the Grand Guignol. Sarnier will send the Retribution. And then here I'll search the Branded Fusion. Here I can go Grand Guignol Effect, and he's going to chain the Cookie Yummy away to tag back out to the 2 in graveyard to get back up to the Snatchy. I send Shrouded Dragon here because I can get to Branded in white now. And then I can go Grand Guignol Effect since he special summoned a monster through a monster effect to then summon out a Quem. He goes out to Lollipopo to banish the Albaz. So then he rotates into the Croc, which is a destroy when he synchro summons into a light beast. Then go Quem effect. He chains the Snatchy to synchro summon. He'll go out to the Yummy Way. I send another Albaz. Still have one in deck. He chains the Yummy Way then to tag out no, he just uses its trigger effect to special summon. And then I'm able to go Shrouded Dragon effect, get the Branded in white. And then I activate Branded Retribution, get the Branded in white, but he goes Ghost Spell, which is pretty good. But then I have Branded Fusion, and that is Solemn Warning, so I have to scoop there. So yeah, guys, I maybe should have tried to get Branded Lost first, but I just kind of got owned by Solemn Warning. When I played, I knew there was a way for me to win that if I knew he had Solemn Warning, but I just did not see that coming. So the new game is I have Rahu, Branded Lost, Flame, Quem, and Saranir, a really strong opening hand, frankly. And then he opens Perulia, Lollipopo, Schooled, Talents, and Cupsy. So he's going to Perulia me in the draw phase, which is fine. I'm going to do my best not even to give him a draw. I'll go Branded Lost, and then into Rahu. That obviously he just gives me the thumbs up here, so I'm like, oh boy, I just get free reign. So I go Saranir into Phimina, Chainlink 1 Altharion targeting of the Phimina, Chainlink 2 Lost, and then Chainlink 3 Phimina to set the Ketu. And then I will search out the Shrouded here so I can connect to a Branded Fusion without giving him a draw off of Perulia. And now I can go into the... Oh, I forget to also... I also send the Retribution off of the Saranir. And then here I can go Albion the Shrouded Dragon effect to send the Branded Fusion. And then I draw the Droll and Lockbird, which is okay, I guess. And then I draw go Retribution into Branded Fusion. And then I can go Ketu Dracotail to search a Urgala. And Urgala pairs really nice with Phimina, so I'll be able to recur back the Phimina when we get there. And now I can go Branded Fusion, sending the Albaz plus the Lubellion, so I can at least still get the Albion in the graveyard, even though I've lost. If I had, like, Branded Banishment, this would be great. But the card's kind of bricky. I banish Saranir Albaz for the Lubellion, discarding the Droll, and then fusing it back for the Mirror Jade, tribute over the Albion for the Lubellion, just to get the Albion in the graveyard for the end phase. And now we can go into the Quem normal summon. I do give him a draw here, which he forgets to draw here, apparently. Oh, yeah, no. We catch the draw at the end, but I think the draw doesn't matter, so then I go into Phimina, fusing off the Urgala plus the Lubellion, so I can go into the Grammel, and then I can go Chainlink 1 Quem, reviving the Cartesia, Chainlink 2 Urgala to set a Dracotail spell or trap. I set a Rahu for the follow-up. Since I already have the Dracotail Flame, that should tell my opponent that. And then I special summon out the Cartesia. And then I can go Urgala effect to spin back to get the Phimina. And here I could go Cartesia effect to fuse off itself in the Quem for the Grand Guignol, because I run 2 Quem, so I can just get another Quem in the graveyard and then just get more advantage, since Grand Guignol on the board is better than just leaving the Quem, because I still get the Quem off the Titanclad. And then I set the Dracotail Flame. So this is my board to Grammel, Altharion, Mirror Jade plus Grand Guignol plus Rahu for follow-up, Branded Lost, Dracotail Flame with Phimina, which is a quick effect on my opponent's turn to fusion summon. And then I have Titanclad and Albion, which are going to get me into Quem and a Branded in red. And then Quem sends me a Fallen of Albaz. I get the Cartesia back to hand for a discard. And then I go Albion for Branded in red. So basically I have full Branded combo plus full Dracotail combo. So this board just like does anything I wanted to, right? I could lock, I could loop Mirror Jade, I could make Altharion bounce like 3, like we're gonna do it all here with this hand. Like I don't think any yummy hand ever plays through this board, frankly. And then he draws Songs of the Dominator. Oh, and he draw okay, so his Perulia draw was Songs of the Dominators, which he isn't even able to use, right? Because he has Perulia in the graveyard, so feels a little weird to run both at the same time. So then he draws for turn for the Lollipopo Yummy, which is fine for me. Also, Quem shouldn't have used its effect before. I shouldn't have sent Albaz, which would have made my board actually slightly different if I had it. Yeah, like, honestly, the only issue with this board is not having an Albaz in graveyard. However, the thing is, I have Grand Guignol to tag out to another Quem, but I misplayed. I should have never summoned the Quem. I should have added Albaz, so that was a big misplay. But my board's still so good that, like, it doesn't even matter. but do you guys kind of see what I mean? So basically, off of Titanclad, I should have gotten Albaz instead of the second Quem, and then on his turn, when he inevitably triggers the Grand Guignol, I can summon the second Quem, get the Albaz, and then my board is just fine with the Branded Red and the Mirror Jade to connect the Albaz. So he goes Obedience Scold here, but I go Dracotail Flame to play around like a Talents that might be there, which is definitely there. I don't know though. And then I'm able to draw a card by spinning back the Rahu. I draw the Aluber. And now he has to kind of play into my board. He draws the Cupsy, searches out the Surprise. And here I'm thinking, because I have to kind of just remove his cards, I go Mirror Jade effect to banish the Yummy, and then sending the Rinbrums, so I'll eventually never get an Albaz, I guess. I mean, technically I can get an Albaz, though, because if I go Lost Search, I can get it, so... Which is the nice thing about Femina. And then he goes Talents to take, which is fine for me. And this is why I'm talking about, like, Gramel's, like, actually kind of, like, a good bait sometimes, because it's not the best interruption, but your opponent still has to deal with it. So he takes the Gramel, which is fine with me. It does barely anything. Like, it does pop a card, but it's not really integral to my own board. And I already used the Mirror Jade, so he goes Surprise to special summon out the Lollipopo. And then here, I'm going to be able to use the Femina effect to then fuse off. So I'm going to go fuse off the Altharion plus the Cartesia for another Altharion, which is why I like double Altharion. And then I can go Altharion effect, Quem 2 to revive the... I think I'm going to revive a Cartesia. And then I'm going to go Chainlink 3 Lost to search out the Albaz. I search out Mercurier here, but I probably should have just searched out the Albaz, now that I think about it. And then here he gets back the Lollipopo that I just bounced with the Altharion, which is good for me because he can't really do anything. And then he just scoops. So yeah, guys, that was the game against Yummy. I just misplayed there a little bit. I mean, I could have gotten the Albaz off Mercurier, and then I could have just done everything with Branded in red as well, I noticed. And then also if I had just searched the Albaz instead of summoning the Quem, it would have been fine. However, that first game was really nice where I was able to break the board. Obviously, if he had kept the Ash, that would have been one thing, but, you know, it's just Yu-Gi-Oh! At the end of the day. So, yeah, guys, with that being said, let me know down below what kind of gameplay you guys want to see for the next format. I'm going to be grinding DB a lot, so expect more DB gameplay in the future. Expect a IRL deck profile of my branded Dracotail list pretty soon. That's going to be pretty in-depth. Also, check out my branded Dracotail guide down below. It's very in-depth if you want to learn anything about this deck. And then also we have a bunch of other gameplays of me going against all the other new Justice Hunter decks into the format with this deck. If you guys want to see me play against some old decks like Malice and Mitsurugi, please let me know down below. Subscribe today. We're at the road to 20,000 subscribers. Leave a like if this video gets to 100 likes. Once again, another video. Comment down below what your favorite part of the video was. And love you guys. Stay safe. Have a great day.